on LIV Tour, just tell us a little bit about the team dynamics. Now, it's a very strange thing. 54 holes. You've got team play and individual play at the same time with a shotgun start. What is that team dynamics like with other teams and camaraderie? We obviously know you guys are incredible at it, but what is that like versus a PGA or European Tour?
So in Europe, it was when I started in Europe, we were fortunate enough to have a lot of older guys there. The likes of Darren Fickart,
yes.
Thomas Aiken, Richard Sterney, even, Henny Otto, Trevor Fisher was playing, Ulrich van der Berg got his card back. So when I was in, kind of starting out in Europe, we all used to go to meals together and we all used to kind of hang out and, away from golf, always played practice rounds together. And but then as the years went on, things kind of split up. I don't know if that's more money or more opportunity, or guys just, started to move their own ways. The guys went to America, other guys had to come back to South Africa, but that dynamic started to get lost. And then, it kind of became very singular. Then I went to the PGA Tour, and it was, you're a Pat Malone, you're on your own. That's it. It's a seriously, seriously lonely place to play golf. It's probably the most competitive place to play golf. So on the golf course, it's second to none. If you make a bogey, you don't drop, 5 places, or, you drop 20, 30 places. You've got to have your A game pretty much week in, week out there. You go out there and have a B or C game, you miss in the cut. So, but then away from golf, I found myself very lonely, sitting in a hotel room, having room service on my own, because there was no one to go and eat out with. There was no one to go and do anything with. No one would do anything. Everyone was just so golf directed, and it was just one-way traffic. And then you get to LIV, and you've got some of the best players in the world who've played on the PGA Tour, done all of that.
Yeah.
Major champions,
all littered with major champions. And
top 10 players.
Now I'm going to have breakfast with Cam Smith, and we don't even talk about golf. We talk about catching fish or DJ, or, go with Bryson and we talk about, why he's using a crank driver. I spent 30, 40 minutes with him on the range, and he's explaining everything to me, and it's fascinating. So to have that opportunity of guys to actually open up and give advice, and you're able to learn, I think is second to none, And then to be able to watch guys like Louis and how they prepare, and why his putting stroke is so pure, and you watch what he does. I try and emulate that. I try and see what he does and learn from it, and get better, and also use their advice. Mentally, Brandon Grace has got to have one of the best mentalities in world golf. It's incredible. Yeah. So to be able to spend time with him and really spend time with him. Last time I spent time with him, we were juniors. Really spent time with him. So it's an incredible place to play golf. That dynamic, the team dynamic, is interesting. There's certain teams that gel really well. I think the teams that have guys all from the same country tend to do better. But then a team like the Crushers, they have a really good dynamic too. And, they've only got, they got Chucky Three Sticks, Charles Howell, who's an incredible human being, Bryson, who's turned out to be a really good leader actually for the whole league. He's really turned out to do something special. Then you got Anirban from India and Paul Casey from England, but they seem to gel really well. And then you got the Range Goats, who also gel really well, and they're also massively diverse. They've got 4 totally different characters in their team. And then you got some teams that still need to kind of find their way and find their feet. But I think that's the beauty of the team aspect. That kind of team dynamic is something you can't buy. It's something that'll just happen. It'll flow into.
So I suppose it also is conducive to create far better friendships and long-term bonds when you have that type of casual interaction and time spent with each other versus on the PGA where it's sort of individually focused.
I think definitely. I think I feel like you're able to be remembered as well. I think with LIV. I think PGA Tour. If you won 2-3 times on the PGA Tour and had one bad season and you were off, no one would remember.
Yeah.
No one remembers. They forget. Unless you win a major, nobody remembers. But with LIV, like you say, you build those relationships with people and people you admire. I've been fortunate enough this year to play with some amazing golfers. Amazing. Phil, Bubba, guys I used to watch.
Yeah.
And when a guy like Phil comes up to me and we're in the final group on Sunday and I'm playing with him and Cam Smith, And he comes up to me on the putting green before we tee off, and he's just like, listen, Dean, you've had an incredible year. You should be really proud of what you've done this year. Well played. Before we go tee off. I'll go to the first tee buzzing.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Course. Yeah,
but if I go in a PGA Tour event and I was probably playing with the same two guys, that wouldn't have happened. So that dynamic is super special, and I don't think you can kind of get it anywhere else in golf. LIV Golf is a really, really cool place to play golf. That's for sure.
And from looking back now, just on that a little bit, from that decision when Louis called you and stuff, any regrets?
No regrets. Absolutely none. I've been able to give my kids, an amazing life so far, and I've also been able to secure things for them for their future. If both my sons come to me and say, I want to go and study to get into NASA, or I want to go to Stanford or Yale, or I want to go to St. Andrews, or whatever it is, I can say, go for it.
Yeah.
I don't have to say, all right, we've got to try and go for a bursary, or we've got to do this. I don't have to juggle balls, you know what I mean?
Up to get a scholarship.
You know what I mean? If you're going to go to Stanford, you've got to have serious academics, which I'm lucky my wife is really clever and she's really good at learning. So that's her department with the kids, so, but yeah, I'm able to provide my kids with that, which is really special.